What if everything falling apart in your life right now is actually everything falling into place? You're not here by coincidence. You were guided to this exact moment by something within you, a voice you've ignored for far too long. Maybe you've been feeling lost lately, disconnected, like you're standing at the edge of something vast, and you don't even know what you're supposed to do next. But here's the truth no one tells you. This confusion, this discomfort is sacred. It's not a sign that you're breaking down. It's a sign that you're breaking free. Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And that's exactly what's happening now. Your soul is calling you to step into the next chapter. A chapter that doesn't demand perfection, but authenticity. In this video, you're going to discover the 7 powerful signs that you're on the verge of entering the best stage of your life. And if even 3 of these resonate with you, get ready, because you're not evolving by accident. You're evolving because it's finally your time. But before we dive in, pause. Ask yourself, what if this video is the confirmation you've been waiting for? This isn't just another motivational video, it's a mirror. And if you're brave enough to look into it, truly look, you might just see the real you looking back. So if you're ready to find out how the universe whispers before it shouts, and how your chaos is a doorway to clarity, subscribe now and comment below with, I'm ready for the new me. Because if you made it here, this message is meant for you. Let's begin. Sign number 1. You begin questioning everything you thought you knew. It starts small, a whisper of doubt, a sudden pause during your morning routine. A question you can't shake. Is this all there is? But that's not weakness. That's your awakening. The structures that once gave you certainty are starting to crack. Not to destroy you, but to reveal a deeper truth beneath them. And that's just the beginning. At first, the questions feel uncomfortable, even threatening. You used to be so sure of yourself, of your beliefs, your values, your path. Now suddenly, they feel shaky. But this isn't a breakdown. This is your awakening. You've outgrown the old definitions of success. The routines that once gave you comfort now feel suffocating. You're not broken, you're expanding. And expansion always begins with a little chaos. The truth is, your soul is no longer satisfied with autopilot. It's craving meaning, alignment, something real. And so, life begins to nudge you. Softly at first, then more urgently. To start paying attention to the discontent you're feeling. It's not a sign to settle. It's an invitation to rise. As you start asking deeper questions. Who am I, really? What do I want? Am I living for myself, or for who others expect me to be? You begin to uncover a version of yourself you barely recognize. But deeply remember, this is a sacred unraveling. You're peeling away the layers that never truly belonged to you. The roles you were assigned, the identities you wore like armor. The expectations that never quite fit. And yes, it's disorienting. You might feel like the ground is shifting beneath you, like nothing is certain anymore. But that's exactly the point. The universe clears the clutter before it builds something new. And if you're feeling this right now, you're not alone. So many people walk right up to this edge and turn back. But you're still watching, you're still listening. That means you're ready to move forward. This first sign. The questioning is the doorway. And once you walk through it, the next stage begins. Sign number 2. You start to feel emotionally disconnected from your past. The people, places, habits that once defined your life. They don't feel like home anymore. Something inside you has shifted, quietly, but profoundly, and you're not going back. At first, it's subtle. A friend's joke doesn't hit the same. My favorite spot feels strangely unfamiliar. The music, the conversations, the memories, they all feel like echoes of a life that no longer fits. And maybe you can't explain it. But deep down, you know something inside you has changed. You're not running from your past. You're simply growing beyond it. The hobbies that used to excite you now feel empty. The dreams you once chased don't ignite the same fire. The connections that once anchored you now feel like chains. It's not because you've become cold or detached. It's because your soul is creating space for what's next. You're in the process of shedding, not just people or habits, but entire versions of yourself. You're letting go of who you had to be. To become who you truly are. It's confusing, yes, sometimes even painful. You might feel guilt, nostalgia, resistance. But none of those feelings mean you're wrong. They mean you're human, and you're waking up. Disconnection doesn't mean you've lost your way. It means you're being rerouted to something greater. Carl Jung believed that our growth depends on our ability to integrate the unknown. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. You're integrating the new, the unfamiliar, the authentic. So if you feel like your past no longer holds you, that's because you're being asked to hold yourself. And if this resonates with you so far, if something deep in your chest says yes, this is me, then you're exactly where you need to be. Don't keep this journey to yourself. Pause for a second, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment saying I feel this shift, because when you say it out loud you give others permission to feel it too. And now, we move even deeper. SIGN number 3. You begin to question what you once thought was important. Have you noticed it? That subtle shift where things that once consumed your energy now barely catch your attention. It's not indifference, it's evolution. The opinions of others, not as loud, the rush for status, money, or validation, not as urgent. You're beginning to look deeper, beyond the noise, beyond the surface. Where once you were driven by external goals, promotions, likes, praise, now you're pulled by something far more powerful, inner peace. You've started asking questions that society never prepared you for. What actually makes me feel alive? Why am I chasing things that don't fulfill me? Who am I trying to impress, and why? This inner recalibration can feel disorienting. When the metrics of success no longer make sense, when the trophies no longer sparkle, you're left with raw truth. And that truth whispers, there has to be more. And there is. You're beginning to see that life isn't about adding more. It's about subtracting what is false, peeling away the weeds, letting go of goals that weren't even yours to begin with. This is the wisdom Carl Jung pointed to. The turning inward, the deep questioning that leads not to answers, but to integration. You're not becoming passive, you're becoming precise, focused, intentional. You're not wasting energy on what looks good. You're reinvesting in what feels good, what feels true. You may feel a little lost right now, but that's because your compass is recalibrating, your values are being rewritten, and soon, your entire reality will follow, because when your inner world changes, your outer world has to follow. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Sign number 4. You begin to feel more connected to your intuition than ever before. Something unusual starts happening, not outside of you, but within. You begin sensing things more clearly even before they unfold. A quiet voice rises inside you, one that doesn't shout but simply knows. You can't explain it logically, you just feel drawn to some things and repelled by others. People's energy, situations, even decisions, they all start feeling either aligned or misaligned, and you can't ignore it anymore. That's your intuition. Awakening. It's the part of you that's always been there, buried beneath the noise of expectations, logic, and fear. But now that you're evolving, you're finally hearing it. You're no longer driven solely by plans or checklists. You're guided by resonance, by a deep inner knowing that says, this is right, or this isn't for me. Even when your mind protests, your intuition stands firm. Carl Jung referred to this as connecting with the self, a higher awareness that sees beyond the conscious mind. When you trust it, life starts flowing. Not because everything becomes easy, but because it becomes aligned. You begin noticing synchronicities, small signs, strange coincidences, perfectly timed conversations. They're not accidents, they're confirmations, clues that you're on the right path. And here's the beautiful part. The more you trust your intuition, the louder it becomes. The more you honor it, the more peace you feel. Even if the road ahead is unclear, you move forward with confidence. You no longer need to control everything. You no longer panic when plans shift, because you've realized that your guidance doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. And with that awakening, another transformation begins. SIGN number 5. You feel an intense pull toward personal growth and healing. It's no longer enough to just get by. You feel it deep in your chest, a craving for expansion, for evolution. You're no longer satisfied with surviving. You want to thrive. This desire isn't superficial. It's not about looking good on paper. It's about becoming whole, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You want to understand yourself, heal your wounds, break your patterns. You find yourself drawn to books, videos, teachers, ideas that challenge your old ways of thinking. You're pulled toward wisdom, not noise, truth, not trends. The thirst for growth feels like a fire that won't go out. This is how you know your transformation is real. You start making space for stillness, for reflection. You crave solitude not out of loneliness but out of necessity, because it's in that silence that the real you begins to speak. You also begin confronting your past. Not to blame, but to liberate. Old wounds resurfaced, not to hurt you again, but to be healed properly this time. You begin asking, what am I still carrying that no longer serves me? The answers hurt, but they also set you free. You stop chasing quick fixes. You seek real change. You're no longer willing to settle for distractions or excuses. You know that if you're going to rise into your next chapter, you have to do the inner work. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're unlearning, you're peeling off layers, you're forgiving, releasing, restoring. This isn't just growth, it's rebirth. And now that you're waking up to your own power, you'll begin to notice a powerful shift in your environment. SIGN number 6. You feel a strong urge to break free from toxic relationships and draining environments. It starts with a whisper, a discomfort you can explain when you around certain people. The conversations feel hollow, the energy feels off, the laughter feels forced, something just doesn't fit anymore. Then it grows stronger. You feel drained after being around them. You begin noticing the patterns. Criticism disguised as advice, manipulation wrapped in concern, emotional chaos masked as love. You're not imagining it, you're waking up. The relationships, habits, and environments that once felt normal now feel toxic, and for the first time you're ready to call them what they are. This isn't about becoming cold or ruthless. It's about choosing peace, choosing truth, choosing yourself. Because here, as the raw truth, you can heal in the same place that broke you. You can't grow in soil poisoned by judgment, control, or guilt. You need space to bloom, and that means letting go of what keeps you small. At first, it may feel like betrayal, but eventually, you realize the real betrayal is abandoning yourself to make others comfortable. And so, you begin stepping back. You start honoring your boundaries. You choose silence over arguments, distance over drama, healing over history. You're no longer asking, what will they think? You're asking, what do I need to heal? It's a radical act of self-respect, and it's also one of the clearest signs that you're about to enter a completely new season of life. So if this speaks to your soul, if you're in the process of walking away from anything that doesn't align with your peace, take a deep breath, then hit subscribe, and comment below. I choose peace, because your transformation deserves to be witnessed and celebrated. And now, as the noise fades and your truth becomes louder, SIGN-7, you begin to feel a deep disconnection from anything that no longer serves your soul. It's hard to describe at first. It's not sadness, not exactly boredom. It's something quieter, emptier, like the world you once built around you has lost its color, its meaning, its gravity. The clothes that once expressed your identity now feel like costumes. The small talk feels unbearable. Even your own habits seem foreign, robotic. This is the moment where most people panic. They rush to fill the silence, to replace the void with something familiar. But you're sitting with it, and that takes courage. This disconnection isn't a sign that you've lost yourself. It's a sign that you're finally letting go of the false self, the one built on old wounds, expectations, and survival strategies. You're no longer interested in performing. You want truth, you want substance. You want to live a life that actually feels like yours. This inner detachment is your soul's way of saying, we're done pretending. It can feel lonely at first, even frightening. But in that space of detachment, something beautiful is quietly unfolding. Clarity. You start realizing what truly matters, what gives you energy instead of stealing it, what aligns with your future instead of anchoring you to the past. You're no longer looking for distractions. You're searching for resonance. And little by little, a new world begins to emerge. One built not on obligation or fear, but on purpose, on alignment, on peace. Because when you disconnect from what no longer serves you, you reconnect with yourself. And that reconnection is the gateway to everything your soul has been craving. This disconnection creates space, and within that space, something begins to stir, a quiet power, a sense that you're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. And that's okay. You're in the in-between, the sacred space of becoming. You begin observing more than reacting, feeling more than forcing. You realize that silence is no longer empty. It's full of answers. You start spending time differently. The pull toward superficial distractions fades. Instead, you're drawn to reflection, creation, authenticity. You crave conversations that feed your spirit, not just fill time. Your goals begin to shift. You stop chasing what impresses others. Instead, you're drawn toward what fulfills you. You begin to redefine success, not as applause, but as inner alignment. That's because you're not just changing habits, you're changing identity. You're no longer trying to fit in, you're learning to belong to yourself. You don't need permission to take up space anymore. You're done shrinking, done explaining, done apologizing for the softness, the depth, the magic inside you. And as this deeper version of you rises, something else happens. Life starts to reflect your inner world. You begin meeting people who see you. You find yourself in spaces where you don't have to filter who you are. New doors open, not because you're chasing them, but because you're aligned with them. The universe doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to authenticity. And now, Your authenticity is finally taking the lead. As your outer world starts to shift, something even deeper anchors within you: trust. Not just trust in the process, but trust in yourself. You no longer need constant signs or reassurances. You've lived through the uncertainty, the emotional storms, the letting go, and you've survived. More than that, you've grown. You begin to realize that everything, even the hardest parts, served a purpose. Every heartbreak carved space for something real. Every failure redirected your path toward something truer. Every breakdown held the seed of a breakthrough, and so you stop fearing change. You welcome it. You stop resisting endings. You understand they're part of creation. Because you've learned that your life is not meant to stay the same. It's meant to evolve, just like you. You begin to notice that you need less, fewer people, fewer possessions, fewer validations, but what remains is real. It's meaningful. It's you. You move with more intention now. You say yes with clarity. You say no without guilt. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. This is when you realize you're no longer reacting to life. You're co-creating it. You're not just drifting with the tide. You're swimming with awareness, with presence, with purpose. You understand that everything, even the hard moments, has brought you to this exact threshold. And just beyond it is the best stage of your life. But before you step through, one final shift awaits. A moment of integration. A moment of awakening. And that's what we'll explore next. This is the moment where everything clicks. Not because life suddenly makes sense, but because you do. You're no longer seeking something out there to save you. You realize the answers were always within. The peace, the direction, the strength. It was all there, quietly waiting behind the noise. You now understand that healing isn't about returning to who you were. It's about rising into who you're meant to become. You look back at your path and no longer see mistakes. You see initiations. Every wrong turn taught you something right. Every wound became a window to deeper truth. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." But you've stopped being ruled by fate. You've started living by choice. You're no longer asleep to your patterns, your pain, your power. You've met your shadow, and instead of running, you embraced it. That's what makes you unstoppable now. You're not afraid to feel, to fall, to begin again. You know that breakdowns lead to breakthroughs, that every ending holds a hidden invitation, and so you carry yourself differently. You walk with a quiet power, not loud but unmistakable. The kind that doesn't need validation because it's grounded in truth. You've become the kind of person your younger self needed, and the kind your future self will thank. This isn't just personal growth, it's rebirth. And now, you're ready, because up ahead, just past the letting go, past the silence, past the awakening, is a new world. Shaped not by who you were, but by who you're finally becoming. And that's where we go next. You've made it here, to the edge of your transformation. And now, take a moment. Breathe. Feel it. The lightness in your chest. The clarity in your mind. The quiet strength in your heart. This is the calm after the storm, not because life is perfect, but because you are aligned. You no longer carry what isn't yours. You no longer perform for acceptance. You no longer chase what distracts you from your essence. You are here, present, awake, whole, and the world, the real one, not the filtered illusion, begins to meet you at that level. People who see your soul, not just your smile. Opportunities that mirror your truth, not your survival mode. This is what Jung meant when he spoke of individuation, becoming who you were always meant to be, beyond the roles, the noise, the masks. And now, every moment ahead of you is a canvas, a blank page, a sacred beginning. You're no longer just existing. You're living consciously. You're not just reacting, you're creating. And while the journey will continue with new challenges, new lessons, you'll walk it differently. With eyes wide open, with a heart unafraid, with a spirit that finally feels free. Because you've remembered the truth. You were never broken, just buried. And now, you rise. So if this message touched you, if even a single sentence cracked something open inside you, subscribe now. Not for me, for you. Because if this resonated, it means you're ready for more. And leave a comment. I'm stepping into my best chapter. Let's keep growing together, because this isn't the end. This is the beginning of the best stage of your life. As you step forward into this new chapter, you begin to realize something extraordinary. You trust yourself, not blindly, not arrogantly, but with reverence, with a quiet, grounded knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you'll meet it with grace, presence, and truth. You're no longer ruled by fear. You've seen what it's like to let go, to walk away, to fall apart and rebuild. And now, fear doesn't shake you like it used to. It informs you, but it doesn't own you. This is inner freedom. You don't need to know what's next to move forward. You don't need approval to validate your choices. You've become your own guide, your own compass. Even the unknown no longer terrifies you because you've made peace with mystery, with becoming, with change. That's what Jung pointed to. The power of embracing the whole self, not just the polished parts, but the messy, uncertain, flawed parts too. You've learned to sit with your shadow, to stop resisting your depth, and now you walk lighter. Not because life is easier, but because your soul is no longer at war with itself. You're not waiting for a sign anymore. You are the sign. Your life doesn't need to look like anyone else's, it only needs to feel true, and finally it does. So keep moving in that direction, the one that feels rooted in peace, not pressure, in truth, not performance, in alignment, not appearance, because that's where your next level lives. And it's already waiting for you. This is where everything changes, not with fireworks, but with deep inner certainty. You stop chasing the life you were told to want, and you start living the life your soul always knew was meant for you. You begin to feel safe within yourself. That's the real shift. You stop needing to control every outcome because you trust that no matter what happens, you'll meet it with wisdom, with strength, with softness. There's a rhythm to life now, one that you can feel in your chest. You're not rushing to catch up anymore. You're moving with purpose, with clarity, with presence. You no longer resist endings because you understand. Every ending is a return to yourself, a moment of redirection, a sacred pause before the bloom. People may not understand your changes. Some will drift away. Some won't know how to relate to your stillness, your strength, your softness. Let them go, because your path no longer requires their permission. You've chosen something bigger than approval. You've chosen truth. This is the quiet miracle of transformation. You're not just different, you're free. Free from the weight of pretending. Free from the lie that you are not enough. Free from the idea that your worth must be proven. Now, you live as you were meant to, deeply, honestly, fully. And what comes next? A life that feels like you. Because the best stage of your life isn't found, it's created day by day, choice by choice, breath by breath. And you've already begun. Now that you've crossed the threshold, you begin to understand a deeper truth. Not everything that falls away is a loss. Some things leave your life to make space for alignment, for peace, for purpose. You stop clinging. You stop controlling. You let things unfold, knowing that what's meant for you will never require you to betray yourself. You begin showing up differently, not out of obligation, but out of presence. Your energy shifts. People notice, not because you're louder, but because you're clearer, grounded, rooted. This is the kind of power that doesn't shout, it simply is. And here's the miracle. The more authentic you become, the more aligned your reality becomes. The relationships that remain are deeper. The work you do becomes meaningful. Even the way you walk through the world feels lighter. Not because life has gotten easier, but because you're no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. You're living in integrity now, not perfection. Integrity. And that means your thoughts, your actions, your values, they're finally in sync. That alignment, it radiates. It creates ripple effects you can't even see yet. Opportunities begin showing up. Connections deepen. Your presence heals rooms you used to shrink inside. You're not just stepping into your best stage of life. You're embodying it. Not someday. Not when things are perfect. Now, this version of you, it was always waiting beneath the noise. And now it leads. So now you stand here, not at the end, but at the most powerful beginning of your life. You've let go of the noise. You've faced the silence. You've listened to your soul. And for the first time, you trust it. You are no longer chasing healing. You are healing. You are no longer waiting to feel ready. You are ready. And even if fear still whispers in the background, you no longer let it drive. Because something louder has emerged. Self-respect, self-knowing, self-love. This is your becoming. Not the version of you molded by expectation, but the one sculpted in truth, in stillness, in courage. This new stage of life isn't about constant motion. It's about meaningful direction. It's about waking up every day and choosing a life that feels like a full body yes. And maybe not everyone will understand your glow. Your peace might make others uncomfortable. That's okay. You didn't come here to be understood by everyone. You came here to remember yourself, and you did. Now, go live like it. Go build the world that matches your frequency. Create, speak, rest, love, express, unfold, trust. Begin again as many times as you need. Because this is it. The beginning of the best stage of your life. And it's already happening.